having ADHD has no connection with intellectual ability. So,
Yeah,
like, you
no,
might
not at
have a
all.
budding lawyer on your hands, it sounds like, who can definitely argue a point at 2, 3 years of
Yeah, she
age.
learned how to debate it like maybe first. I think like there was a month into the school, and I guess I had a conversation about like compromising and stuff, and now
No.
that's everything. Everything's a compromise.
She's
So,
Yeah.
it,
extrapolating. Yeah.
Yes, it's
I
great. I'm glad she's
also,
learned school and's using it. Yeah.
yeah, warn parents about that because sometimes I feel like in the past it was linked that, like, that was a reflection of intellectual ability, that because these kids weren't necessarily focusing all the time, or they were misbehaving, or they really couldn't sit still and they're running out of the classroom when they're supposed to be like
Or
sitting
zoning
down.
out,
Yeah, or
right? Like
just zoning
zoning
out,
out and
that
like going
Yes.
to Never Never Land when they should be focusing on something
that
that
these kids
everybody else
aren't
is picking up.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kid with ADHD, half the time I'm like, this kid isn't listening. And then he says something and I'm like, where the heck did that come from out of left field? I'm like, you're like ridiculously smart. You're listening when I have no idea that you're actually like paying attention. Like,
Right. Wait a minute. And then the next response.
yeah.
Never mind.
So,
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I'm glad there's a greater conversation about ADHD, and people are now having to understand that, and that goes with all mental health things. Just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean that has a basis on your intelligence. I mean, you can see around the world people who have done great things with ADHD. Richard Branson is ADHD and dyslexia. Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, a recent skater, Alyssa Liu, who's
mhm.
talked about her ADHD experience. There's people of all. I think they said that maybe Einstein might have had ADHD, and let me see, Thomas Edison, they believe, could have had ADHD. There's just a lot of people, despite, quote, despite what you think about intelligence, who have gone on to do great things. The key thing about that, and every person who is working with someone who has ADHD, whether adult or child, has to be able to figure out how to leverage their ADHD to help them the most. And that's why it's important not just to be able to think about, okay, what medication we prescribe, but what do we put behaviorally and socially around them so that they can thrive.
Do you find, this is my last question because we're running out of time, but do you
Ah,
find that, because when I'm working with families, oftentimes they'll say, well, there may be ADHD. We want to do just therapy and we don't want to explore medication. Um, and I get that a lot. And what I find is in some cases, of mild cases, that works. But then I get to a point where I see kids just starting to get lapped by their peers. Like they've got compensatory strategies that work until they hit maybe 7th grade, where there's a huge like
huge
uptick
jump in what they
in
need.
academic demands. Or 10th grade is another one where there were
Yeah.
times where I see them starting to get lapped by their peers. So um, what I find is that therapy can work for kids with ADHD, but as a parenting coach, that is actually the work I like better. Like I
Mm,
like training parents for expectations, for how to run the household, for how to respond to their kids, because their kids are not always capable because their brains are playing tricks on them. So
yeah.
my question is, like, how do you determine what avenue to take for each family who's dealing with a child with an ADHD diagnosis?
Can I be honest with you with that answer?
Yeah.
Please.